Greetings and welcome to Connecting with Intent Formula Show. I am your host Muhammad Awais. On this episode, we have a very special guest. He is founder at the Net VR, Kyle Doran. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Kyle Doran. Kyle, welcome.
Hello, happy to be here.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
So my last 6 years or my last gaming journey was basically I got out of gaming, so console gaming, and I had a friend that moved in and was a roommate, and he handed me his old PC, and that's where I got back into gaming. Try to learn the industry and then try to create my own career out of it. So that's where I'm currently at. That's where my path has led me. If my friend didn't give me that PC, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Sure. What is your higher purpose in life?
That's an interesting one. For me, it's about education and sharing my passions and knowledge and my life direction. I think mine's been relatively unique. The fact that I am a gamer and I'm proud to be a gamer. It's very much this. You can talk to a lot of people that are like, "Hey, what video games do you play?" And no one will kind of like share them in like a business type of setting or a business type of meeting. Uh, but it's sharing, how much gaming through the pandemic and stuff like helped me mentally ready to work. During the pandemic, I was still working a full-time day job while trying to start the startup. Uh, Working and gaming and trying to start a startup at the same time was very difficult. But just being in the gaming space and being around people that were like-minded, um, just to talk just to talk to somebody about your own day-to-day grinds was super healthy mentally. Uh, that's that's really what got me through the pandemic. And I've seen a lot of other gamers strive through the pandemic a lot better. Now that pandemic's over, it's interesting, kind of the dynamics that have kind of shifted. Some people have kind of gone away from gaming, gone back into real life, I guess is what I like to call it. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's so gaming,
Yeah,
gaming, and
and that's a
teaching the education of the importance of gaming.
yeah, that's a powerful purpose. What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
Starting a business in a not uh, SaaS friendly organization. I didn't realize this early on, but when you're starting a SaaS platform, you really need to be in a kind of a tech uh, centric hub to get started. SaaS businesses aren't like normal businesses where it's like, hey, let's go, cut up this, slice of food, put it on a stove and bake it for people. It's much easier to kind of get started that way. I mean, you got to buy tools and whatnot to get started. You got to buy but you immediately can make, income in SaaS platforms. They only really start in certain cities because of the way those cities kind of are built. I understand that everyone that's not always true, but it's true for most. And I think I started in a pretty small area, and that was probably one of my biggest challenges to overcome was understanding. Trying to start the business would be one challenge, then trying to do it outside of one of these geographical regions that are tech centric would be the second biggest challenge. And then the third was moving away from that, and we finally did that, and we're getting a much more uphill success on the other side.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
And so that greatest failure story was staying. Again, it almost goes back to my challenges. So staying in the geography that I was at for way too long. A lot of advisors continue to tell us to move. You need to move. You need to move. You need to get to one of these tech centric hubs. And so we finally did it, and we're now seeing the move was the recovery. We moved into a more tech centric, SaaS focused kind of hub, I will say there's always caveats to that. Like, hey, was it the right tech-centric hub? But it is a tech-centric hub where there are people that can help and are focused in and can help us with our product.
What is what is the most impactful business book you have read, and what did you learn from it?
So I'm not a typical business book guy. I don't my reading comprehension is relatively low from most people. I enjoy movies. Uh so for me, Ready Player One and Snow Crash are kind of the books that I've done or seen or read. Uh Snow Crash is where the metaverse term came from. So in our industry, metaverse is this new virtual reality new industry. So Crash and Neil Stevenson really helps kind of put your mind in the right perspective of what could be uh, the future for virtual reality and the metaverse.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
For the next 12 months. So we're trying to recreate. So we were able to create a prototype for our application. So we tested it with our customers, and our customers really liked it. The next thing is to get a minimum viable product, and this is where we're sharing revenue. This is one of the biggest things most companies should strive for, but being being a solo entrepreneur with no startup funding, getting a minimum viable product in a metaverse type is almost impossible. However, we are doing it right now. We do have some people that are able to help us. So, but it's getting in that revenue from our SaaS platform, from our SaaS product.
Okay. What advice you will give to your younger yourself? No?
So this one's tough. 20 years ago, when I was younger, I guess 18, coming out of high school, I was a huge gamer in high school. But the gaming industry wasn't mature enough to kind of support. I mean, you could do coding, you could do other kind of stuff, but the content creator side of it was not healthy yet to be able to have sustainable income or that kind of stuff. I loved gaming, but I dropped it. I got out of it because everyone was like, "Hey, you'll never make a living there. You'll never do," and it was probably true at the time. But I was able to get back into it. I do wish I'd stayed a little bit more connected to gaming. I basically dropped, or after college, I dropped anything gaming related. I got rid of all my PCs, got rid of all gaming consoles, didn't even have a Switch or any kind of handheld device. I wish I'd kind of stayed a little bit more plugged in and kind of got back in, or potentially stayed with it a little bit more. But we're here now. But I would have stayed connected with the gaming space. That was where my passion always was throughout high school. So listening to that high school self, hey, what is your passion, and then trying to make a career out of it. Um, Stick with it. Stick with it. It can become big. It can become big in your life at some point. Maybe not right now, but at some point it might change you.
Sure. How can we support you?
Well, you guys are using StreamYard right now to stream your content.
Yeah.
So, at some point you can actually probably use our platform to also stream. You get a little bit more interactivity with your audience, but that's where we're at. So it's the interactivity. You can start bringing in people in a 3D environment, which is a little bit more engaging for your audience.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
Just thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your kind words. No? What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
Uh, Closing thought. Stick with. So right now, you and I are able to connect, and we're connecting through virtual reality right now. In my perspective, a lot of people are going to be like, "Wait a minute, where's our head-mounted displays?" Or what are our, where's this equipment? The virtual reality space is really driven through computers and bits. So you and I are connecting right now consciously, which is awesome. that I didn't have to get on a plane and fly to you to sit here and have a conversation with you. I can use the virtual reality space to have a conversation. We can call it the internet, we can call it the metaverse, we can call it Zoom, we can call it StreamYard, we can call it whatever. We've basically titled all of it the virtual reality space. Uh, but it's about connecting people live. And so you and I are connecting live right now consciously. It's the best time to connect. If you're not connecting with people live, you should probably just kind of reframe your ideas. Hey, why am I always watching, these past videos, or why am I always watching, TikToks or Instagram of past photos? What connect with people live and do things in the virtual space together, and I think you'll have a lot better. You don't even have to do much. You can just sit there with somebody, but you don't. But doing things live with people is very, very, very important. Either participating in live streams or participating in any kind of things. It's a lot healthier than just getting told, "Hey, here's the next TikTok video to watch," or "Here's the next Instagram video to watch," as you slide through the virtual reality in a 2D screen. So connect with people live is super important.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing your wisdom with us today. On the behalf of Connecting with Intent Formula community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is the Muhammad Wes. Until the next episode, all good wishes.